This is Rating Descending.
where we watch IMDb's worst 250 movies so you don't have to.
I'm Michelle St. Clair.
I'm Abigail Ward.
And this week we watched 2001 A Space Travesty. Marshall Dix is to free US president from aliens on the International Lunar Base. A clone has replaced him in the White House. Can Dix prevent an alien invasion? Let's watch. Well, Abby, you know one thing that I forgot from a couple weeks ago? Or rather, we didn't get time for, is probably more accurate to say. Well, on MR's wonderful website, there was a new activity added on the activity page.
What's the activity?
Well, let me tell you, it is Lost in Translation. Sometimes movie titles don't quite survive localization. Can you recognize these bad films based on their official Finnish names when they are translated back to English? And no, I'm not explaining the Finnish idioms that make no sense in English when translated literally. It's funnier like this. You can reveal the answers one by clicking the titles. So that means it's not I'm looking at the answers. We can try and do it together.
Oh.
So first one, Steel Man and a Threat from the Sun.
Is it Superman?
Is it Superman 4?
It's got to be.
Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Yeah.
Number 2, Single Life 2.
Single Life 2?
I honestly have no idea.
Single Life 2.
Single Life 2.
Single Life 2.
What are even some of the sequels we've done?
See, the problem with this game is that it relies on the fact that I haven't tried to absolutely blast all of these films from my memory.
Yeah.
Single Life 2.
What are some of the... See, it's not Caddyshack. It's not Zoolander.
Sister Act.
Sister is Single Life.
Yeah. Actually, sorry, they're married to God. I don't know.
Do we want to just see it? There's 8 total. We can come back to it?
We'll come back to it.
Okay. Dress Cop, The Sun Heals the Knee.
Dress Cop,
The Sun. It's Big Mama's like father like son.
Oh.
Yep, Big Mama's like father like son.
What?
Cop who wears a dress, the sun.
Oh my god.
I don't know if the sun heals the knee is one of the Finnish idioms or whatever. But
so interesting.
Number 4, Hairface.
Hairface.
It's 2 words, Hairface.
Like as in Hair.
Yeah, like from your head.
Not like the tall
Hairface.
rabbit.
No, not like the big rabbit.
Hairface. Beard.
Not like the horse to rabbit's donkey.
Hairface.
Hairface.
Fur.
Oh, furry vengeance? No.
Furry head. Fur head.
Headman.
This is a hard game.
This is hard. Do we want to go to the next one and come back
Are we
to
allowed
Hairface?
to look at the list of films to be able to refresh ourselves?
You can,
or would that be
but then I think we'll get distracted just reading it. And I think that'll be less entertaining from a radio perspective.
Okay.
Let's do the next one. We'll come back to Hairface.
Okay.
Danger Strikes on the Water. That's a
Speed
great...
2.
Oh.
Cruise Control.
Speed 2, Cruise Control. That's really good. All right. Fingers in the Game.
Fingers in the Game.
Fingers in the Game.
Fingers in the Game.
I feel like that's going to be something like some conspiracy action thing, right? Like Fingers in the Game. Is it like Fair Game or something?
Fair Game.
Maybe. Do we want to guess that?
Okay.
It's okay if we get one wrong.
Yeah. Do it.
Oh!
What is it?
Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh my god. I don't think we would have gotten that one.
No, I don't think we would have. This is one of the weirder ones. 7. Dome to the Cabbage.
Biodome.
Biodome? Yes! And then 8. We've still got Hairface and Single Life 2. 8. The Return of the Nibblers.
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Wait,
what was it again? Sorry.
The Return of the Nibblers. Maybe like Critters.
Oh.
Like we had Critters 3.
4?
We did 3.
Oh, okay.
Critters 3.
All right. Do Critters.
Yes.
Nice.
Hairface. Hairface and Single Life 2 are the ones that are left.
Single Life.
Single Life 2.
Oh, man.
We can look at the list now if you want.
Okay.
Because now we're at a point where I'm like, look, we're not going to just run overtime with this, you know?
Let's have a look. So let's focus on hair face.
I think I know what it might be. What Single
Which
Life
one?
2 might be.
What?
Sex and the City 2.
Oh.
Do we want to put that in as a guess?
So is it Single Life 2?
Single Life 2.
Okay, try Sex
I think
and
that's
the
Sex
City.
and the City 2.
Yeah, try it.
Sex and the City 2, baby.
Yeah. And then hair face?
Hair face. This is the one I'm most confused by.
Is that Critters? No, that we got Critters.
We already did Critters.
Oh, man. Hair face.
Kangaroo Jack.
Hair face.
I have no idea what hair face could be.
Reshep Ivadik. Furry Vengeance.
Well, that's what I said. I said it might be Furry Vengeance. That was my first guess. That doesn't quite feel right, but
It doesn't. It's
that-
a tough one.
that feels like it could be a literal translation.
Hair face.
You know, like hair on, like the animals on your face.
Island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh my god! If it's the island of Dr. Moreau, I'm gonna fucking shit. I'm gonna.
I want it to be the island of Dr. Moreau.
All right.
But I don't know if it will be.
Why don't we just do it? I lock in Furry Vengeance. You
Okay.
look in the island of Dr. Moreau.
All right, let's do it.
Of course.
What is it?
The Shaggy Dog.
Ah,
6 out of 8 though. 6
pretty
out of
good.
8.
Pretty
you know?
good.
That was a
great game.
That's a good game, Emma.
Man,
These are
you're so good at this, Emma.
so good at that. And
I love you, Emma.
love you, Emma.
Love you, Emma.
Love you, Emma. But at the same time, also, I don't know you, and you don't really know us.
You don't know what we're like when the mics stop recording.
Yeah, I could be evil. I did hit my head.
We did establish Michelle and evil.
I went evil. I did hit my head.
And I've always been evil.
Yeah,
There's
that's
always
true.
been something slightly wrong with me.
That's the thing.
I'm a dubious person.
If we went to an alternate universe where we're all evil, you would find there is no version of you because that's already you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're meant to be like my best friend.
I love that you're evil. You know, it's great.
Thanks.
Hey, speaking of things that make me feel evil, this week we watched 2001: A Space Travesty. Oh, you can't. I just every time I think I can just breeze past it, you do another one.
I'm drinking a V, so it's particularly
the way
bad.
your eyes bug out sometimes when you vomit. When you vomit, when you burp.
My eyes bug out.
Yeah, like it's pushing its way out of you. Just cool it for 40 minutes.
Good luck. I've got 500 milliliters of
God.
V to drink.
I understand you need the energy, but you cracked it open like the most frothy, bubbly, noisy drink. This is like when you used to drink an iced coffee right before. I'm like, you just clink, clink, clink.
I need something to get me through.
Yeah,
You wish you had this V.
I do. I had
wish.
one sip and I was like, that's pretty good.
It's not bad.
I've never been
12 calories a can. 12 calories.
12 calories.
Hey, it's 12 calories.
So that's all I care about. It's just the
just the calories.
The only thing that marks health is calories.
Exactly right. That's what I look for in the nutrition label.
Yep, that's all I care about.
Sometimes that's true.
Oh, wow, Abigail.
Yeah.
Get your shit together.
I know.
Get your act together,
I
Abby.
know.
Anyway, so we watched 2001: A Space Travesty.
Hey, when you have a metabolism that's as slow as mine,
That's true.
everything counts.
Yeah, well, when you have a metabolism as fast as mine, you'll appreciate all the time you get to spend not in the toilet.
I will say, I hate Claude because he has
Whoa,
the best
that's your
metabolism.
husband.
It's the best metabolism. And I
Yeah.
feel like I look at something deep fried and I gain like a kilo. And I think that Claude can like basically stay stationary like the rest of his life. And he'll still be lean and slightly muscled and thin as a fucking rake. I'm sick of it. This is fucking female oppression.
Yeah.
It's not the actual system that demonizes being fat. It's men getting to be skinny.
Get him!
Yeah!
Take him down!
Pew pew! Shooting him in the back.
So this week we watched 2001: A Space Travesty.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Hey, Abby, what are your first thoughts on this fucking movie? Huh?
I wish it didn't exist.
Yeah.
I wish Leslie Nielsen never had a part in it.
Yeah.
Kind of weird that he's so old and the woman that he ends up with is so young.
We both woke up quite early to watch this movie.
We did.
I'm so upset that's like
It was painful.
We were on that break and I kind of didn't realize that was one of the things that was making my mood better until I had to wake up early to watch this movie. And then I was like, oh, that's right. That's what this is.
There's so many uncomfortable, disconcerting parts of the film, like things that made me
troubling.
Not even like, and it wasn't even like morally or ethically troubling. I mean, like on a physical plane.
Yeah, gut reaction of
like, I feel queasy watching some of these sequences.
Oh,
like the
sinister.
bit where he's on the plane and there's the gravity thing, and there's that bit where he's kind of on this plane going back and forth, getting thrown because his suspenders get caught in something. That made me want to throw up.
Doing like a kind of voice because, because it's yanking his testicles, that means his voice is now really high kind of thing.
Exactly. What would happen if you yanked Leslie Nielsen's testicles and then you also fed him helium? Would it just like go above any range of decibels?
Whistle tone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only dogs could hear it.
I can't do it.
You're right that, like, I love a good farce. Both of us love a good farce.
Yes, we do. It's just a silly way to say it. I love it.
Love
a good farce.
Look, I do. I love a cheeky farce. I'm not necessarily...
Wait, would you describe yourself as farcical?
Yeah, I think I would. I think if any person could be described as farcical, it would be Michelle
Maybe you
Sinclair.
should put it on your dating profile because it is apt, isn't it?
A farce.
Yeah, just a farce, full stop.
Yeah.
That's all people need to know.
Truly, I mean, one of my most famous bits that is literally spread like outside of our circle of friends, like I know other people who make requests for it, is a mimed routine where I pretend to rip my tits off and eat them, like,
and then shit them back out,
and then shit them back out and put them back on. Like,
I often ask for them when someone hasn't seen it before. I'm like, Michelle, do the thing, do the bit.
You are why it is spread. I did
know.
it for you one time, and then you kept asking me to do it.
It's so good.
Thank you.
It's like the best.
But like that is to say, I'm not necessarily like married to highbrow comedy. I love a good farce.
Yeah,
I love a ridiculous bit. This, I think, was a bit
Point
much.
taken.
A bit much, perhaps.
This wasn't... I mean, you like a farce in moderation, but also in good taste.
In a good taste farce.
And this had not a taste to be seen.
Oh, yeah. Tasteless.
One would say.
No.
It was a painful watch.
It really hurt.
It was possibly one of my least favorite viewing experiences, and there were some bits that did make me laugh, but there were so many bits that I found visually disturbing.
Yeah.
That I couldn't.
I said troubling.
Yeah, troubling.
Do just get into the key details.
Please.
All right, so this movie came out in 2000. It was directed by Alan A. Goldstein, who has directed like 25 movies, but they're all bad and I had no idea what they were, so I didn't list them.
Fair enough.
I think this might be his most known movie. Starring Leslie Nielsen, who will be returning again from superhero movie Mr. Magoo, and Stan Helsing. So it's his fourth time.
Top all-star.
Yeah, he's really up there.
Damn.
As well as Ophelie Winter, Peter Egan, and Ezio Greggio. Or Greggio.
Greggio.
The budget was confusing to find. A number I saw quoted in a number of places, such as not just Wikipedia, but I tried to do more extensive research, and the number I kept seeing quoted was $45 million in brackets estimated. Elsewhere, I found the number 26 million. But that also was from far fewer places, and I couldn't verify the veracity of either numbers.
Interesting.
So it was either $45 million or $26 million.
I mean, it's one is almost double the figure of another. So it's a pretty big disparity.
Huge disparity, and both wildly over what it should cost.
Definitely.
What do you think the box office was?
I think the box office was... Oh, let me think about this. It's a Leslie Nielsen film, but it's a parody. What year did it come out?
2000.
I just don't think it pulled in a lot of people.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna spoil for you. You're right.
Yeah. Did it make 10 million?
Less digits.
What?
Less digits.
4 million?
Less digits.
900,000?
$270,813.
Oh my god! Because Okay, have you heard of this film before? Because I haven't.
No.
And I like Leslie Nielsen. I thought I was across shit parody films. I'd never heard of this before. This explains
Because
why.
apparently being someone who saw this movie makes you a fucking unicorn.
Because if you're dating around, you can really, if you want to search for that really special girl, ask if they've seen a space travesty.
Yeah.
And if they say yes, she's the one.
Yeah, on the Hinge prompt, what are you looking for? Has seen 2001 A Space Travesty. But then I'll get people being like, I love that movie. And I'll be like, get out.
Yeah, get blocked.
Leave me alone.
Report them to the police.
I never want to talk to you again.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
She's
Officer,
a baby.
get her. She's a baby.
You named my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster?
She's a baby.
She's a baby. Fuck, it's a good scene.
Those are great movies. I wish more of this list was like that.
Me too.
Here's the overview. I struggled. It's been a little bit. At a certain point, I just gave up on trying to write it well because I feel like this is the kind of overview that I will have to stop and maybe ask questions.
Okay.
So Marshall Dick Dix, a clumsy.
Clumby.
Marshall Dick Dix.
No, let's focus on that a bit more. I'm so clumby today.
So clumby today.
I'm going to say that to Claude when I get home. Oops, being clumby again.
Clumby herb.
Every night, I call his chest, this is gross, I call his chest the ched.
The ched?
The
What?
ched.
Why do you, what?
And so I put my head on the ched.
Okay.
And so every night, literally, I say, chedding. And then he puts himself on his back so I can put my head on his ched. Chedding. And every night he's like, chedding's so good.
I
And I'm
hope
like,
my
the ched.
I hope my last words are I'm clumby because I want it to be like I'm walking and I go, I clumby, and then I fall over and I never get up again.
That's like my grandmother.
Yeah.
When she died of a blood clot and she said, I feel peculiar. And she just keeled over and died. You should make sure your last words are clumby.
I clumby.
Clumby.
Now I don't even know how much to keep or cut out of all
I
that.
think that's so funny though, because I keep it. Because I swear, my grandmother, she died in China, and then this woman who was with her at the time, just a random woman she was traveling with, got in touch with us, the family, to tell us about her last moments. Can you imagine you die overseas and someone flies overseas to tell me about your last moments? And I'm like, yeah, she was a great woman, great friend. I'm just devastated. And they're like, you want to hear about what happened? And I'm like, yeah. Like, well, getting off a flight, and I think she said she felt a bit dizzy earlier, and she got down the end of the tarmac and she just dropped her bag and she said, I clumby. And she was gone. Is that what you want?
Yeah, word for word.
I clumby.
It's saying it in a very serious American accent that really fucking clinched it for us.
Is I Clumby the sequel to I Claudius?
Yeah, but yeah. I Claudius and then I Clumby. Marshall Dick Dix.
So funny.
A clumsy yet effective special detective, I don't know what a special detective is paired with Cassandra Minaj, a joke I thought was going to pay off in like a menage a trois joke, and it didn't.
No, I think we can blame Bond for it, because things like Pussy Galore have meant that there's just been a string of parody movies where a woman's name is vaguely sexual, and that's the joke.
Well, because the new one, isn't the female companion named Bomb Ass Snooch?
It's called Wet Ass Pussy. Her name's Wap.
I couldn't get through it.
Soaky Snooch.
Soaky Snooch. Yeah. Oh, is it Clippy Clunge? Anyway.
Massive minge. Mingina.
Mingina.
My name is Mingina.
My name is yeah.
Have you come back to the chalet yet? It's me, Mingina.
That's when Austin Powers did Ivana Hump a lot. It was barely a parody, you know?
Yeah, truly.
All right. Who reveals to Dix that on the moon is a secret base used to monitor and process aliens. I don't know what.
You're going to have to run me through this.
I didn't understand it.
I don't know.
Because she revealed that aliens were real, and that also we have a base on the moon where they seem to hang out, and we sometimes do extrajudicial murders of them. They explained it. There's a whole bit where they explain it, and I didn't understand by the end of their explanation.
Yeah.
Because they were like, sometimes they do this thing where we need to find them, and so we do a high-pitched noise and then they explode.
Yeah.
I didn't really get
No.
that.
Michelle, there's many things about this film I didn't understand
Yeah.
at all.
So let me say that again. Who reveals to Dix that on the moon is a secret base used to monitor and process aliens, wherein which she secretly and accidentally observed a group of aliens and an unknown figure cloning the president of the United States as part of a plan to take over Earth. Is that clear?
It was clear. Well, I got there by the end of the film,
Yeah.
but there were a lot of details that didn't seem to gel with me.
Yeah, the aliens want to take over Earth, so they're going to do so via cloning.
Cloning Bill Clinton.
Which we also discover at the end that the aliens have the ability to disguise as a full human.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't just do that.
No, either.
Why didn't they just do that?
Can they choose what they look like when they disguise themselves as a human?
Yeah, apparently. We see that at the end the the sexy lady was actually an alien.
Well, yeah, but could she choose that she looks like that sexy lady?
I don't think it's just like a technology that goes like, this is what you would look like if you were a human. I think it was like, this is your glamour.
Yeah, I have no idea why they didn't.
I don't know why they didn't just do that. That's a way simpler plot too. Because then you can still do the two presidents bit at the end of like, who's the alien and who's the guy.
I will say the two presidents bit at the end was kind of funny.
I think it was maybe one of the worst iterations of the which clone is the real clone. It doesn't make any sense.
It wasn't funny when they all stopped to talk about the clones, but it was funny when the second clone raised out of the platform and then all of a sudden in the distance there were just two Bill Clintons playing the sax.
Yeah.
I kind of thought for some reason it tickled me.
I have a whole bit about that.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to it. The pair head to the moon base, which is named Vegan, spelt like vegan, but pronounced vegan.
Back in the time where vegan was a funny joke
Yeah,
as well.
because it's never pays off as a joke. So I guess the joke is just that vegan is a funny
I'm
word.
so glad we moved past that phase where there were a bunch of jokes about vegans. Like,
Yeah.
it was really boring. It was just a boring joke.
It was insane. Whereupon they meet some allies and the Dr. Griffin Pratt, a scientist who also seems to run the facility, I think. He was like it was kind of unclear whether the moon base was like an international thing or an American thing or what the deal was, but this scientist guy ran the facility,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know.
Okay, sure.
Don't look at me.
After a series of mishaps, including an elevator ride, a dinner, and a bungled attempt at investigating Pratt's office, they find the president and manage to take him back to Earth, right?
Yeah.
However, once they do this, they realize the man they've just placed in the presidency is the clone, and Pratt and the police chief are part of the plan.
Yeah.
So Dix and Minaj then take the real president to a Paris official dinner where the clone president is set to announce a treaty with the aliens, I think.
Sure.
Interrupting an opera, they...
I love how lost we both are, because I was really hoping you'd come in and be like, "This is what happened." I'm validated that you too were lost, but
I came in with Highlander 2 and I knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
This left me baffled.
no, yeah,
Interrupting an opera, they managed to stop the evil plan and reinstate the real president, saving the day.
the end.
Yeah.
I have to say,
The
the
end.
woman that played Hillary Clinton was very convincing.
Bang on.
I was like, for a second, I was like, "Is that actually her?"
I had
Truly
the
looks
same
like her.
moment. I was
Yeah.
like, is that Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, I was very confused.
Yeah. No, perfect Hillary.
Yeah, very
perfect
good
Hillary.
Do
She
you
should
reckon
have
she's
run.
just a Hillary Clinton impersonator?
I think that's probably not as monetarily fulfilling as it not just used to be, but maybe could have been.
Yeah.
I think
Maybe 8
2016
years
was
ago.
hard for a lot of people.
Yeah. 8 years ago it would have been very fruitful.
Oh, for sure. And I think she might have had a conflicted moment where she was like, well, irregardless of how I vote, there's a lot of implications of Trump winning, but like also, I really would have been able to bump up. If you do the president, that's
It all
way
feels
better.
a bit too raw again with the looming election to
Sure.
even think about.
Yeah.
I feel like we had a good few years there where we could joke about the Trump era. Now with a potential, like a second one looming,
Yeah.
potentially, I'm frightened, and I had this avoidant response of, I don't even want to think about that.
Oh, totally.
Me and my tiny little hands and brain and my tiny little world cannot change what might be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just don't want to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that's wrong in a sense that I should be standing up and doing something, but I can't.
Well,
I don't even live there.
yeah, exactly. In many
Can't even
ways,
vote.
we're in a different continent.
Yep.
it does make me genuinely terrified for who I am as a person as well. I'm like, because it sounds like we'll be high on the list for who they're coming for, you know?
Yeah, probably.
So I worry about what the response in our country will be. But, you know, all I mean to say is that I don't think John Kerry impersonators got paid much after 2004, you know?
Do you think the lack of something or the break from something is what inspires people to want something again, though? Because I think that...
Whoa, what?
Well, maybe this is too deep a conversation.
Holy shit.
What?
No, it was just such like a more like profound question that I thought was coming after I made a John Kerry joke.
I just mean that, like, I think that we've had this immense era of backlash against Trump because we went through the Trump era, we went through his presidency, and it meant that a lot of people were able to unite and be like, this is bullshit. I want something completely different. And we've gone through this kind of period where all of a sudden we had a lot more, in the general purpose of the word, a more liberal set of leaders, you know, and we had our first Labour Prime Minister voted in 2 years ago in a long time. We had, you know, the French Prime Minister that was voted in. We had Biden voted in. And I think there was this sort of sweep to the left. And it makes me wonder if now that we've had that little era, once again, people start missing what they don't have. People start criticizing what's there. And so this feels like too heavy a conversation to have in the middle of space travesty. But I feel like potentially because we've had that sweep to the left, it's going to have that counter effect of, well, we miss what we don't have. We miss what we lack, which is ultra-right conservative politics. Well, we want Trump back.
Look, I mean, before getting back to a space travesty... My real genuine answer is the fascinating thing is with all of those figures mentioned from Biden to Albanese to Macron is that it was a promised pitch to the left that never materialized, and that creates a lot of incredibly disaffected people and has hurt the economy of all three of those countries. And that creates a very fertile ground for right-wing populists.
And there's still a lot of unfulfilled promises. It never really felt like a complete win for the left because...
Angry people like voting for their anger more than they like voting for their interests.
But Leslie Nielsen...
So, yeah, this was just kind of a secret police squad movie, right?
I feel like Leslie Nielsen... You hate me for that, don't you?
I do a little.
Yeah.
I do a little. You feel like Leslie Nielsen?
Well,
That's
Leslie
interesting.
Nielsen... Yeah, sometimes. I feel like Leslie Nielsen... Again, like I know he made his late career off of the back of dumb, schlocky parody films, but this one was just particularly a low bar that I find unforgivable.
It's so funny to me, that quote that gets passed around where he's specifically talking about Airplane of like, yeah, I, pivoted from serious acting to comedic acting, and the trick was that I didn't change how I did the acting.
Yeah.
And like, that's only true in Airplane, because after that, he's mugging the camera constantly. Yeah. All he's doing is big kind of faces. Like, there's no way in Poseidon he was acting like that.
I feel like he was acting like that in Dracula Dead and Loving It. Very
That's what
straight.
I mean.
No, he was acting straight, like very deadpan in Dracula Dead and Loving It.
No, he's still doing like...
Yes, he is. No, he is.
Even on the poster, he's going, ugh.
Nah.
You showed me that
across
movie.
that film. I've watched it many times. I think he plays it pretty deadpan.
He still does the classic Leslie Nielsen, big eyes, big wide mouth. Ooh.
But it's that dry, dead, monotonous delivery that I think is what he's referring to,
That's
right?
what he sounds like.
Renfield.
It's just what he sounds like. He just sounds like that.
There was this old story I used to tell. I don't know if I've told on this podcast. I think that I might not have. But when I worked at JB back in the day, a man came in. I worked in the DVD department, which meant that I would kind of mill around putting DVDs away until some unhinged lunatic would decide to ruin my day by popping into JB Hi-Fi, looking for the most obscure movie.
Okay.
It was always an old man that would carry an Aldi bag and he'd have a list of obscure films on a little Post-it note, and he'd be weirdly sweaty. But one time a guy came in and he asked me, "Where's your Leslie Nielsen section?"
Oh, I remember this.
And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Where's the Leslie Nielsen section?" And I said, "We don't have a Leslie Nielsen section." And he was like, "Why not?" And I was like, "Because that's insane." We can't categorize movies by the actors. I think you can understand there's big overlap, you know?
Yeah, a lot of those movies have multiple actors in them.
And he was like, "Well, I just think this has all been very unhelpful." And he left. And I was just gobsmacked by the whole interaction. And I talked to my colleagues about it, and they let me make a little Leslie Nielsen section in the end section of the movies, just for like the 4 films of his that we had.
Yeah.
And it was up for a week, and the guy actually ended up coming back, and he asked this time for Flying High.
Yeah.
Well, Airplane. And I was like, great, sure, I can show that to you. Like, thank you for asking like a normal fucking human being. But also, would you be interested in the Leslie Nielsen section? I had this, like, the sign that I made for it up on my bedroom wall for so many years.
That's so petty.
I hated him so much.
Now, look, in this movie, I had a couple things, right? As is, I guess, our job. One
Job?
I get, well, you know. I know the
More of a hobby.
I know the president was specifically Clinton at the time.
Yeah.
Because they're doing Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
But do you feel like Clinton became like the template for when a movie has a president and they don't want to do the sitting president? It's always Bill
I
Clinton.
don't know if he was the template or if it happened to just be the strange overlap of time where he happened to be the president where a lot of people were satirizing the general, like the main president.
Well, but I feel like in the 2000s, if they weren't doing specifically Bush, they would do a Clinton-esque figure. And when they wouldn't do Obama, they would do a very Clinton sort of figure.
I don't know. I feel like the majority of satirized presidents I've seen have been based on Bush or Clinton, but I honestly just think it was because they happened to come out at the time they were president.
I mean, Clinton's a fun president to parody.
He is. I mean, he's had a stupid like scandal. He plays the sax, and he's got a stupid voice. I think that's also what it is.
He likes cheeseburgers. I love hamburgers and playing a saxophone.
That's great. I feel
That's a terrible
like
impression,
people satirize Trump, but they've always been able to satirize Trump because he was a figure before his presidency that people could satirize.
This is a ridiculous man who speaks in a ridiculous way.
But are you trying to say, like, even in 2024, if they were like satirizing a president, you think it would be a vague template of Bill Clinton?
Notably, in movies during the Trump era, they wouldn't make Trump the president because they were like, too much.
It is too much.
And so they would make a generic president, and I feel like so often that would be Clinton. And I think that's because a lot of the like Gen X sort of people who are making these movies grew up with him as the president. And so they're like, I guess it's also like Obama notwithstanding, but also Obama has some specifics about the era rather than him as a person, but also his ethnicity. But this is what I mean. Clinton is the last like regular guy president. Obama, also regular guy, but the fact that he's black means a lot to Americans. And so they can't just do that again without it being cool. Like it's about Obama.
You don't think George Bush is a regular guy?
Do you remember what it was like at the Bush presidency? Everything was like, this is the dumbest man who ever lived.
That's true, but Bill Clinton had a bit of that.
A
little bit of that because he'd say dumb shit all the time. He also
didn't, like he was a ridiculous man, but he was still like the president.
Yeah, I suppose so. I genuinely categorized George Bush and Bill Clinton into a category where they're as stupid as each other.
We have rehabilitated Bush in a lot of ways because we've had a lot of evidence from Trump that like it can get worse. But but during that era, everyone was like, there is no possible way to have a worse president than this.
Yeah. That's the thing. If Bush was, I feel like you would want to be swinging for the most ridiculous president. And the reason that I think people go for Bill Clinton is that he is a stupid president because of these things.
Bush is a more ridiculous president.
Yeah, but I think Bill Clinton has had more moments of like insane publicity, such as his scandal and the saxophone performance that people have been able to hook into. But with Bush, it's just like, I'm a Texan who loves oil and I responded badly to 9/11. Like, it's harder to satirize that, I suppose.
Half of his quotes are him like misspeaking and saying insane things. Like
that's the thing. Yeah, you could never do it to Obama because he was actually a respectable president.
Yeah,
like put together, well spoken, didn't have a scandal. I mean, didn't have a personal life scandal.
Which is, I think, why a lot of people instead parody, like, when they're showing American drone strikes, they're talking about, like, how respectable it is, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I just mean as a person,
I know. We're on the same... I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of him. The toupee really seemed to upset 90s comedy writers, right? Like, because it's revealed that Pratt has a toupee specifically because Leslie Nielsen accidentally takes it off. A thing that I remember seeing in so many movies as a kid. I feel like something about the toupee just seemed to really set comedy writers on edge.
What do you mean by on edge?
I feel like they were gnashing their teeth furious about it because they always thought it was the funniest thing in the world. What if someone was actually bald and wearing a toupee?
I mean, this is the team that made Dick Dicks, you know? Like, I don't know if it's worth our time thinking about the standards of comedy they're operating at.
One thing I was curious about. The very Italian captain who's helping them.
Yeah.
I feel like there was some sort of like advanced racism they couldn't decode because he's got like a cooler of food that he's filling up from the table, and he keeps doing these things that I feel like I meant to go like classic Italian, and I'm like, I don't recognize the stereotypes at all.
I don't either, because I feel like Italians in Australia, I feel like Italians are like, they're like white people. They're like fully assimilated into white culture. They really have. Like, I think maybe in the 80s, novels like Looking for Alabrandy, which I have brought up a million times to you, actually, it was a sign that in the 80s and 90s, potentially it was still a bit of a, I feel like they were still like assimilating.
Well, we still have the very like notable stereotypes about like, but I guess we more loosely treat it as Mediterranean. Like we in Australia lump Italian and Greek and often Portuguese culture as like one sort of white ethnic thing.
Yeah. Well, I think there's just been enough time, but I think that because of that, if someone did make a racist Italian joke, I would also be like, I don't get it.
I think, yeah.
I've never seen one before.
I feel like they were close to like calling him a dago, a word that I didn't know until a movie that I was editing used it like as a like, this guy's being racist. And I was like, what is that? It's apparently a racist term for Italian people.
Yeah. It is.
I didn't know that.
There's also another one called, they say eye tight.
What?
Yeah, that was something Australians used to say in the 50s and 60s. Like the bloody eye tights.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
God. Hey, you know, racism is so weird.
That's the thing. Like, they're a weird mob.
Yeah.
It was genuinely about like a young Italian man emigrating to Australia and finding it difficult because people were prejudiced against him.
Yeah.
Looking for Alabrandy was about a young girl who noticed just some of the slight differences in her raising compared to Anglo girls. And now there's no books about Italians in Australian culture because they're not. I'm sorry, they're just like not considered to be like new generation immigrants.
But I think that is also true in most of the states. It's just this is what I mean. Like, this movie was written by someone who was 70 and still remembered all the stereotypes.
Exactly.
That's what
like,
it smells of.
Retire, Grandpa.
Yeah. All right. Grandpa sleepy, huh? Go to bed. Okay. Yeah, the Italian's putting food in his cooler for later, huh?
Italians are so greedy and hungry.
He's got a coffee. So Italian of him. Okay, baby, go to sleep.
Night.
Night.
And you smother them with a pillow.
Shh. No, shush. Stop saying that word.
Stop saying the D word.
Stop saying the D word. No one uses it. It's not even a...
I remember I read this touching story about well, it's not really touching.
Oh my God. A story about touching?
Yeah, just about touching story.
That feels like this. This feels like that.
That's it. I touch this and then I touch that.
Wow.
So good.
Keep going.
There was this Italian man who got trapped in a mine in like the middle of Western Australia in like the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually maybe the 40s. But obviously he was, considered... like, I think that there was a lot of prejudice towards him, especially in rural bush communities. He had already faced a lot of prejudice from the community while he'd been living there. And then he got stuck in a mine. And he was the only person stuck in there, and it was like flooding. And they spent like 2 weeks getting him out of the mine, but they all really rallied together and did it. And he came out and he was really grateful. He couldn't speak a lick of English. And later, apparently, he said he was like, I was just worried that they would let me die down there because I was an Italian man.
Oh my God.
I know, it was horrible.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
Yeah, but I was like, I get it, man. You just like had a shit experience with all of them. And then all of a sudden, all of them were like, we've got to get him out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now, listen. So one of the things I was also thinking about is the club scene.
Yeah.
The insane club scene.
Yeah.
Where it's also revealed, like, they refer to in an earlier scene that Minaj can sing. And then she does it. And I feel like, for me, I was expecting it to be like a pop singing performance. And really, she has like a whole choreography thing going on. And she's singing a song that isn't even that complicated to sing or anything. She's doing just a song.
Yeah.
But she's doing a whole like pop. She's a pop star on the moon.
I wanted to ask, who is the woman that played her? Because she was so beautiful, I thought she might have been a model.
Ophélie Winter. I think it's Ophélie. She's French. Oh, she's a French pop and R&B singer and okay, well that explains that.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, she in the 90s mostly did like pop R&B sort of music.
Yeah, no wonder they tried to work it in. Do
Yeah,
you
I
reckon it was
guess.
part of the contract? Like, I'll be in it, but you have to let me sing.
Yeah, maybe.
Honestly, probably.
And then she was in a handful of mostly French movies. This is really the only American movie I can find that she's done.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why this didn't help her break into the States.
I know, it's crazy. It's like she had no screen presence. There was that bit though where she was like flying into this rage and she was kicking the shit out of these people, and then
Yeah.
the narration came on being like, from Leslie Nielsen being like, she was so beautiful, my god, the way she kicked and blah blah blah. And that scene was so silly, it also made me laugh.
Oh. Okay, so I had three things about the end
Okay.
that I wanted to go through before we move on, right? One is the clone bit, the two presidents.
Yeah.
The way that they prove it, because part of the whole thing is at first they're like, oh, that's him because he has a birthmark, but turns out the real one actually got the birthmark removed, and that's hard to prove. So instead they try and prove it through a sax battle. And so he's like, I learned this when I was a kid, and then the clone can do it because obviously he has all the same memories. But
Yeah.
then he's like, I learned this just the other day. Can you play this? And then he can't. How does that prove anything? The other guy could have learnt a song too.
But I think it's him being like, I learnt this yesterday and you were cloned from me a few days ago. So now we don't have this shared memory. Therefore, you can't play this.
Right, but that doesn't prove he's the clone. That just proves he's different.
That's true. And I was like, oh, is there going to be like a moment where he turns around being like, I gotcha, you know?
He, the clone, could have learnt a new song.
Dude,
They
don't quiz me.
It doesn't prove anything.
I don't know, man.
It just proves that they're different from each other.
I
It
don't
doesn't
know.
prove that he's the real guy.
I know this whole podcast is talking about bad movies, but I hate talking about them.
It was baffling because I thought they were going to be like, that's nothing. And
Yeah,
then they were
yeah.
all like, you got
You
me.
got
and I'm
him.
like, what? That's
That's true. Like the clone could have
Could've
learned
learnt
a
a
song.
song.
Yeah.
that's nothing. That's not.
Maybe it's just proving that the clone has no creative initiative to learn new sax songs.
Maybe, but that's sort of a lot more heady than what was introduced in the moment, you know? A lot
There's a
more
lot
philosophical.
more hurdles you have to jump over to arrive to that conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. But immediately afterwards is where the sexy woman. Sorry, I wrote it down. The opera guy starts squealing, and so the sexy woman turns into an alien.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then turns into a balloon, which is then going off and shooting around.
What of it?
in the room.
What of it?
And then
I loved it.
Minaj shoots her down with a slingshot, so she explodes into goo,
What
and like
of
a
it?
bucket of goo.
What are you saying? I loved it.
I just felt like I
What do you mean?
sort of lost track of what I was watching at that point.
What of it?
I think I just watched that and I was like, what is this?
It makes sense.
This stare you're giving me
What?
is so like
What are you implying?
chill but menacing.
That it doesn't make sense?
Yeah.
You're wrong.
I'm so sorry.
The alien gets defeated.
Well, but similarly, the dialogue kind of makes me feel like I'm in the middle of having a stroke. Like I feel like
The dialogue, but also the direction. Like I feel like there's so much about the direction
Yeah.
and some of the special effects. Everything made me feel like I was actually about to throw up. You know how like Food Fight made that
Yeah.
editor throw up, the animator throw up?
Yeah.
That's how I felt watching this. There were various sequences where I was like, I think I might throw up because it's like so overstimulating.
But it's also just so nonsensical. Like it doesn't make any. There's a bit right at the end. It's like the last bit. These aliens show up and like, we're gonna shoot you, and then he pulls out an even bigger gun.
Yeah.
You know, a comically oversized gun. It doesn't fire, and then they go, ugh, and then they run away. And she walks up to him, Minaj, going, "You've saved the world again. Pause. You're so wonderful. You know, you could be my father." And then he says, "Oh, that concert is the only time I've been to France." And then she says, "Oh, Richard," and they kiss.
Yeah.
What?
I will say, at least with
What?
the kiss, because there's probably like a 50-year age difference between them. At least with the kiss, it was very like quick.
But why did she? So she out of nowhere says, "You know, you could be my father," and
It's
then
hot.
And then he
What of
says,
it?
"Oh, that concert is the only time I've been to France."
What are you implying? It's hot
How
and
is that-
funny.
how's that related?
Because he's saying, you're
What?
not my daughter.
I know. What? Oh, because she's French.
Yeah.
Oh, because she's French.
Yeah.
There we go.
What of it?
It's still okay. I just thought I just didn't
Flawless
understand
film, as you can
it.
see.
I really didn't get it.
That's a you thing.
Do you want to hear some trivia?
Yeah, man.
IMDb trivia.
There is no trivia.
Oh my God.
Do you want to hear some reviews?
Yes, please.
Reviews!
This has 17% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 3.6 on IMDb. Jason James of The Nut Gallery, very few critics reviewed this,
The Nut Gallery? What the fuck?
said,
That sounds like an exhibition in Mona.
it
They're
does.
always trying to be so edgy and be like, "Here's a pussy."
Overall, I am not that big a fan of spoof movies to begin with, so it would have to be pretty special for me to like it. Even with that, this is still not even that good of a spoof movie, making it even harder to watch. It was a critic review,
True.
technically. Here's an IMDb review titled, "Come on, this wasn't meant to be serious, so don't take it like that," by Apfrats. Or Apfrats. Lots of negative reports on this one, but let's face it, it wasn't meant to be a serious movie at all. First, take your daily dose of Prozac twice, otherwise y'all may
Whoa.
get depressed,
Whoa,
thinking this
that
one
feels
should be
personal.
taken seriously.
I
It
do
does.
take Prozac. My husband takes it twice.
After that, have a bottle of some strong booze in front of you and look at this one. I liked it. No, you shouldn't be mixing alcohol with Prozac like that.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Not
you
so
shouldn't-
immediately.
Not so immediately. Yeah, it's a bit weird.
I liked it. Not because it was a good comedy or something, but but I respected how someone is capable of making a movie like this. You'll have to see this movie as a game. Use your remote over and over again. Zoom in. Play some parts
What the
frame by frame and try to recover all jokes, or, in quotes, jokes. Come on.
What the fuck?
Brackets. Idiot. I don't understand that.
I don't know what they're saying.
Idiotic things and stupidity in this one. I bet that those who have the most negative criticism on this one haven't noticed for 50% how many and silly stupid jokes are made in it.
I don't get it.
Okay, it's hilarious, but it should be.
Okay, agreed.
I enjoyed watching it and even watched it twice, noticing new jokes and stupidity the second time. I'm sure if I see it again, I will still notice new jokes. ED. For that reason alone, I liked watching this movie. What? So I'm not complaining that this one is no comedy. It's an interactive game
Thought
using
it was
your...
hilarious. And it should be.
It's an interactive game using UR remote and try to find all, quote, jokes and other stuff. There are many more than one might expect. It's a parody, not a real comedy. If you keep that in mind, it's well worth watching. And remember, try to find them all. 7 out of 10.
I know I said that this podcast gave us brain damage, but that's proper brain damage. That guy like did too much ayahuasca one year, and now he thinks that like every film is a game to zoom in on.
Cracked the code. It's a game.
Don't miss them.
All these jokes.
Dude, get help.
Yeah.
Get help.
Here's one titled, Wow. ...
Is it Owen Wilson? Did he leave it?
Wow.
O. Wilson 74.
It's by Joel O. Mann. January 23rd, 2005 dash 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 dash. Wow. I just saw this movie for the first time and I can see why I didn't run out and see it when it first came out 5 years ago. Although the movie had a horrible plot, low budget and special effects, and was generally
Wow.
unentertaining.
Wow, this was unentertaining.
It did have a saving point, and her name is Cassandra Minaj, played by Ophalie Winter, bracket http://www.imdb.com/name/nm09358007/ end bracket. And that's the reason why I chose to rate this film as a 9. Although her filmography isn't that long, mostly containing foreign/international films, her beauty absolutely took my breath away. Ophalie
Wow.
Winter is definitely at the top of my list of the most beautiful women in the world, and I hope to see that she is recognized soon for it. I sincerely doubt it, but if Ophalie Winter actually gets the chance to read this, you are a beautiful woman, talented actress, and I truly hope to see you in future films as you expand your fruitful acting career. 9 out of 10.
I love when dudes have a boner and they try and mask it as, I respect your career.
God,
You're amazing.
I respect you so fucking hard.
Ah, fuck.
I respect.
I'd respect it so much if you took your shirt off in
hand
the next
hovering
film.
above their erection reverently. Oh god, I respect you so fucking hard. This one's titled Airplane in Space Part 2. And that's in quotes. I don't know why. By Seth N172. Note that I've called this review Airplane in Space Part 2. That's because there has already been an airplane movie that has taken place in space. Hey, cool rhyme. Airplane 2, the sequel, was the name. Anyways, I've called it that because Leslie Nielsen is in this movie. I remember him from the Airplane movies, and I best know him from all 3 Naked Gun movies. The Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad, The Naked Gun 2.5, and The Naked Gun 33 1/3, all of which are reminiscent to the Airplane movies because something funny happens every 10 seconds or so. I guess this must be Mr. Nielsen's trademark or something, because 2001 A Space Travesty is just as funny as all the other movies mentioned. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Every 10 seconds or so. But that was Seth N. 172. What's your review?
I felt physically repulsed by this film.
Yeah, that tracks.
I didn't enjoy myself, and it was painful watch. It was worse than I thought it would be as well, because I was like, oh, Leslie Nielsen, silly parody film, how bad could it be? It was really bad.
It's pretty bad.
Really, really bad.
Yeah.
Even though there was a few bits that made me laugh, it wasn't worth it. Like, I wish it wasn't worth it. So I'm going to give this a 1 out of 10. Didn't even look really like a film to me.
Not really.
No.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I know part of our whole shtick and tag is so you don't have to. So we're like, don't watch these movies. Don't watch this movie.
Don't do it.
Don't watch this movie.
Nothing redeeming about it.
No, it's not worth it. Like, it really, if you put this on for a bad movie night, you will bum everyone out.
Yeah.
For sure.
Not a vibe.
Not a vibe, not a good time. So with that in mind, I think I'm also going to give it a 1, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's below a 2. It definitely isn't a movie.
No. Didn't look like a movie. Didn't feel like a movie.
Yeah. It didn't, normally movies don't give me a gag response.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So with that in mind, you can also find us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at RateDescendPod, on TikTok at RatingDescending, or you can email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com. I love to read the emails.
And we're on YouTube now. You can find us at Rating Descending on YouTube.
Or you can find me on my own social media. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Michelle.St. on Letterboxd at MSt. Or check out any of the series I've talked about before. Shippers at Shippers Series, No Ordinary Love at No Ordinary Love Series, Unerased on Instagram at -18youth, or on TikTok at unerased.tv.
And please, pretty please, don't forget to leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. It really makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That was, if I'm not mistaken, that was 2001 A Space Travesty. Abby, what are you watching next week?
Next week we're watching Police Academy Mission to Moscow.
Oh,
remember Police Academy, Michelle?
Oh my god, I'm not watching those fuckers again.
No one asked you to. That was a you decision. I didn't do it. No one put a gun to your head.
I can't believe there's a 7th one.
Join us there next week. If you dare.
If you dare.
Ooh, long time of the year.
We do a lot of spooky endings.
I know.